Here now to get inside the minds of these depraved killers, Mubin Sheikh, a former jihadist turned undercover operative, and Mia Bloom, a professor at Georgia State University and author of the upcoming book, Small Arms, Children and Terrorism, that digs into this disturbing trend. Welcome to both of you. It is very good to have you with us to sort of shed some light on this. I know, Mia, you've done a lot of research into this. Why children? I mean, why is this okay? And what kind of person's mind is this justified?
The way ISIS looks at children is a very utilitarian way. So they don't see the innocent children and victims that they've killed. They just see it as a target. And the idea of targeting children is in order to increase the shock value. It's to have precisely the effect that it has, where you're sitting there and you're thinking, this is insane. These are innocent children who've done nothing. But if you think about how ISIS has approached children, they have used children as suicide bombers. They've been engaging children on the battlefield in these mixed units, these commando units where it's 8-year-old kids next to 50-year-old men, and now they are deliberately targeting children. And their affiliates have been using children like Boko Haram. So this is not new. As the report indicated, attacking children has a long tradition with all of the Al-Qaeda groups and the Al-Qaeda affiliates, but also if you think about the fact that there was the daycare center at the Fred Murrow building in Oklahoma City, 15 children died there, including all the infants whose cribs were next to the window.
Unthinkable. I read one of the accounts of an interview that was done with a neighbor to Salman Abedi, the young man who they believe was the killer in this case. And Mubin, of course, the neighbor says this: I'm astonished. Salman, he was such a quiet boy. He was always very respectful towards me. His brother Ismail is outgoing, but Salman was very quiet. He is such an unlikely person to have done this. We hear this time and time again. Explain.
Yeah, I mean, you hear this with homicides, serial killers, serial sexual sadists even. Once in a while, you might pick up a personality dysfunction. But look, all in all, you really don't know what your neighbor is doing when you're not just giving the niceties of the day. We go through our daily lives, we say our heys and hellos, but we don't really know about people. And ultimately, this is what it's about, the closeness of networks. We're learning that two of his brothers, or one of his brother, was arrested as a secondary suspect. Of course, this information is still coming, but it seems that there's a family link. They come from Libya, 2 other brothers apparently. So, the point is not just children as victims, but also children as attackers. What we're looking at right now, this kind of lone suicide bomber. Yeah. Of course, there's going to be a network outside of that, but wait for the next iteration. What do we do when a child suicide bomber goes off in a Western
we've
country?
seen young children, members of ISIS killing people on videotapes. It's horrific. But, how do we find these people? He was apparently out in the street, sort of proclaiming some of this at the top of his lungs in recent days. But, Mia, we have to get better at getting these people into custody before they can pull this off, and that's very tough to do.
It's tough to do in a free society with free speech, because until the person actually does something, having these radical thoughts isn't in itself illegal. It's only once the thoughts turn into action. And, like with every instance that we've seen in Europe in the last year and a half, the perpetrator was known to the authorities but wasn't deemed to be a threat. If that's the case, then either there needs to be better investigation, more follow-up, or more resources given to the various police departments to be able to continue to observe anyone who might be the least bit suspicious. The problem is, even in the UK with their prevent strategy, people have found it too invasive. So it's really hard to strike just the right balance between the freedoms that we enjoy in democracy and the security that we demand.
Mubin and Mia, thank you very much. Good to have you both with us.
Thanks for having us.